The former face of CNN primetime, Chris Cuomo, Fredo, who you may recall was fired late last year after CNN learned that he was using the network's resources to try to dig up dirt on the women that his brother had been harassing in order to try to smear them. Well, he's trying to make a comeback and reinvent himself as a YouTuber. He's got this fancy intro and it's called the Chris Cuomo Project, and for his first episode, he went all the way over to Ukraine to find out what's really going on.
We are situated on the side of this building because the artillery has been passing along here on the other side of it.
You got to admire his effort, and he wants to be back in media so bad that he turned half of his house into a studio. Well, at least one of his houses, or maybe this is his guest house. He's fabulously wealthy, and so he hired a professional crew to put together this whole studio for him, and he certainly has the money.
This is the living room that we've turned into a sit down, more casual. This is where it's going to happen, except when my wife is here and has to work or anybody wants to live here. We'll just move the stands.
Fredo's salary at CNN was $6 million a year, which is in the ballpark of most of these celebrity supposed journalists. Literally, that's how much money they make. And if you break that down, that's $500,000 a month. And for doing about 20 shows a month, 5 days a week, that's $25,000 a day. Most of the people in the liberal media industrial complex have a price that they're willing to sell their soul for, and the going rate is about $25,000 or $30,000 per show. Most people tend to think of journalists, and I use that term lightly, sort of like teachers, people who get into the career not because they're going to make a lot of money, but because they're really passionate about it and it's for a good cause. But with the mainstream media, that couldn't be further from the truth, because these people get paid fabulously well. And in fact, in 3 days, they make more money than your average American makes working an entire year. So far, his new endeavor is not off to the greatest start. His YouTube channel has only about 14,000 subscribers. And don't expect him to expose CNN to even try to get some publicity, because he couldn't even if he wanted to, because the contract that he signed with them, virtually in his own blood, is so ironclad with NDA clauses and non-disparagement clauses that he can't criticize CNN. And these contracts are so sinister that they have a standard arbitration clause, which means that if Fredo were to even break his NDA and expose CNN, and then they were to sue him, that would be settled privately or secretly in what's called arbitration, instead of publicly in a courtroom where the testimony and the evidence is part of the public record. In arbitration, everything's secret between only the two parties and the arbitration judge, or sometimes a panel of judges who decide the case. Years ago, a representative from Starbucks contacted me, and I did a video about this at the time. They wanted me to sign an NDA before Starbucks would talk to me about a proposal that they really wanted to talk to me about, but they wouldn't talk to me unless first I promised that I wouldn't tell anybody what the proposal was after they told me. Of course, I didn't sign it. I didn't even consider signing it, because I don't accept any amount of money to throw away my First Amendment right. But I suspected what they wanted, and later my suspicions turned out to be true. They wanted to buy the rights to one of my previous videos where I was insulting Starbucks for removing the Christmas symbols from their December, formerly Christmas cups, when they rebranded to the more politically correct winter cups. Also, about 5 or 6 years ago, some lawyer contacted me and wanted me to sign an NDA because their client wanted to meet with me about a media company that they were starting, and that's not how I do business. That seems shady to me. If you're in the industry, or you used to be, and you want to talk, you can email me or DM me on Twitter. I've always kept my word about things that are told to me off the record. I'm just a guy in my kitchen on a laptop, but unlike virtually every other YouTuber, I don't take on advertisers, shield garbage products or services for 90 seconds or 2 minutes per video. I just sell my own books and my own t-shirts. If you listen to AM Talk Radio, it's even worse. Those shows are like 40% commercials. And I don't want to mention any names, Sean Hannity, but the shilling is endless. But Fredo loves the industry, and part of him launching his YouTube channel is him trying to get recognized by a, quote, real network. And aside from MSNBC and the big broadcast networks, ABC, NBC, and CBS, there are other options out there like Newsy, which is a smaller over-the-air broadcast 24-hour network, and News Nation, which used to be WGN America, which is another 24-hour little-known fledgling cable channel. And just before I sat down to record this video, news broke that is Fredo's new home, News Nation, a cable channel that virtually nobody has heard of because they get literally less than 50,000 viewers.
I want to help.
I want to find a way to help people. I'm going to come to News Nation, and I want to build something special here. Work with Dan, work with the team here. They've got great people who are really hungry to make a difference in ways that I think matter. I had decided that I can't go back to what people see as the big game. I don't think I can make a difference there. I think we need insurgent media. I'm going to do the job. I'm going to go where the news is, and I'm going to try very hard to be fair. And I want to do it here. I want to make a difference, and I'm really hoping that it makes a difference for you. And I thank News Nation very much for the opportunity.
Ashley Banfield, who used to work for MSNBC years ago, has a show there. Dan Abrams, who used to be a legal analyst for ABC News, is there. A guy named Leland Vitter, who used to work for Fox News, has a show over there. And now Fredo is the face of News Nation. He probably signed like a 3 or 6 month deal with them, and they're hoping that having the former face of CNN Primetime join them will finally put them on the map. But instead of mocking Fredo for joining a cable channel that has literally less than a quarter of the viewers that I have here on YouTube, I am proud of him and I fully support him and wish him all the success in the world, because if he can siphon off a few more thousand viewers from CNN, then maybe that ship will finally sink. Being a media analyst, I've known that News Nation existed, but I've never mentioned them before because there's never been a reason. They've never done anything newsworthy. They've never had any groundbreaking interviews. They just sort of existed there on cable like hundreds of other channels. But Fredo, I really do wish you the best. Remember, Newsmax was a joke for years and limped along with probably 50,000 subscribers for who knows how long. And I don't say that as an insult or to disparage them. I think Newsmax is great. But the point is that Newsmax had been on cable news for years with hardly anybody noticing, and then just all of a sudden blew up after Fox News didn't take many people's concerns about election fraud seriously after the 2020 election, and then tons of people just left Fox News, and then Newsmax all of a sudden became a major player in the news business. Fredo joining News Nation is making news. In fact, it's the most attention that the network has ever received, and like I said, this is the first time that most people have even heard that they exist. And so anything that will take even more viewers away from CNN, I think we should support. And if you want to support my work, order my books in paperback from Amazon.com, or get some of my shirts from my online store, markdice.com, like my new climate change shirt, which illustrates how the climate changes each season, or an Arrest Dr. Fauci shirt, or a Warning Contains Facts and Opinions Some May Find Offensive shirt, all available in a t-shirt, long sleeve, and a hoodie, and a whole bunch of different colors as well. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.